good morning, or whenever you're seeing this and listening to this, you're like, oh, look, they put out another episode. No, it's last time's episode. I was finally able to get a recovery file. So here is the full podcast. You'll notice that the quality dips a little bit on the video side. Audio, I think you're going to be A-OK. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up that this is coming through. So here's the show again. You can listen to the rest of it. About 15 minutes is the first episode. So first version of this, rather. So if you jump ahead, if you'd like to listen to the rest, you can. Okay, bye.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what? Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah.
What's up, and welcome to another exciting episode of Ride the Rebellion podcast. I'm Drew, and with me today, as always, is the king of the South Alabama Turn Down, and he's also a pretty good, turns out, I've said this before, he's a pretty good, decent grip, and professional pizza maker, Dale Boyd of Dale Boyd Pizzas.
Oh yeah, this is maybe our last bike episode.
Yeah, this is it. We're going for pizza talk.
It's going to be all pizzas.
Pizza and coffee. That's all it is.
Because I can't do the whole barbecue thing. It takes too long.
Right.
I'm fat and I need food.
Fat, I need food. So I'm just going to eat dough with meat and cheese on it.
Yeah, so I'm making pizzas now, folks.
Yep.
I'm tired of the South pizza. Figured I'm just going to bring my.
If you've been around Dale long enough, or he's drunk enough, he's going to go on a rant eventually about how terrible the pizzas are in the South.
But I'm not wrong.
I don't know if he's wrong. I will tell you, I don't think our neck of the woods has very good pizza. No offense to anyone that makes pizza down here, but not very good. Ever since Picklefish went away, I just not a fan.
If you have a pizza recommendation that you think I need to try that's within like not that far of a drive.
Because he's hungry.
Yeah, because I'm fat and I'm hungry. Shout it out and I'll give it a try. And don't say the dumb Mobile ones because I've already tried them and they suck.
He doesn't like any of the Mobile ones. Today on the show, we're just going to talk about nothing. This is the Seinfeld episode. You guys have been waiting for it. High demand episode. You guys have sent us multiple emails saying like, hey, can you guys please just talk about nothing one more time? And that's what we're going to do.
It is kind of interesting. We do get comments like that. Yeah. Like we think that we're just filling space sometimes in between guests. But then people are like, well, no, we like the old school because this is how it started.
Yeah, this is back to the original. So anyway, a couple of things we'll talk about. We'll get into those here in a moment. We'll do a little recap. This will be a nice, clean, easy episode. Shout out to our sponsors, of course. We've got Summit Bike Academy's hat right here on top of this froey head. This way. There you go. There it is right there. Summit Bike Academy for all your summit needs. If you need to climb a mountain, don't go see them. But if you need to ride a bike up a mountain, definitely go see Summit Bike Academy.
Oh, but wait, Toby's into rock climbing too, so he could probably get you to the summit no matter what.
It's true.
He can.
Yeah, it's we've talked about. I think we've plugged it enough. If you guys have not taken a class, they also now have classes in Bentonville. If you are up that way or going to be that way or near there, I highly suggest, even if it's private coaching, the rider they have up there is local to that area. So, arguably, you might. If you would like to ride the best trails, you're going to probably pay for a guide anyway. But what if you paid for a guide that was also teaching you shit? Seems like a pretty good deal. I would check out Summit Bike Academy. You can go to shredwithsummit.com and check them out. Highly suggest it. And that side of it. In the meantime, if you're doing that, you could just run on over to Dale's Choice.
Build, tune, ride. Because if you're tired of running, you need something to ride. And that would be a great place to have them built. And while you're there, maybe you could check out the Stockyard, which is in the backyard of Build to Ride.
That's exactly right.
We'll talk about that in the future.
Absolutely. Also, shout out to Kevin Black, who I haven't seen in a while, of Man of War Tattoo.
He's got big things.
Does he?
Yeah. Very big Kevin Black things.
Very big black things. Got it. He's got the VBB. VBB.
Yeah, and actually.
Vacation Bible things.
Oh, I don't know about that. That might be a little bit much.
Little cringy.
But yeah, he does have Man of War Tattoo. Will be doing big things in the future.
Oh, fun. That sounds interesting.
And maybe we'll be dropping that info.
Yeah, maybe we will. So Man of War Tattoo, Kevin Black over that side of things. And of course, Run and Try for all your running shoes and nutrition. I do think that's a little overlooked concept. You've plugged it very well and I haven't, but they actually do, even if it's not keto stuff, because I'm no longer keto, but the amount of nutrition I need now riding has changed. And I have found that like clean energy does make a huge difference. I've been doing like a lot more long rides, and there's long rides, like typically like halfway through, I need that little bump unless I've ridden for food. But
Well, through the neighborhood you're in, you could probably get a real bump.
yeah, no joke. I will ride through sketchy business. But anyway, so if you haven't been over there, at least to check out for nutrition, especially here locally. You can also order online through him.
Mhm.
But again, shoe wise, fantastic, and the nutrition's another angle that's worth exploring.
Well, last but certainly not least, if you're in Fairhope, Alabama, checking with Kevin Black, getting a tattoo, you could probably get Pro Cycle tattooed on your arm if you'd like.
I'm
Um,
sure they would love it.
and if you stop in, they'll give you a beer for the tattoo, I'm sure.
Yeah, again, we talk about like Build Tune Ride is a little ways away. Um,
He's more enduro focused
and he's
too.
more enduro focused. The thing about Pro Cycle is that's your good general quality bike shop. And again, they do have beer. That's the whole thing. It's the old school style shop. You go in and hang out. There's a lot of times that I think you can just go to Pro Cycle and hang out, drink a beer, buy some little widget from them that you needed, and you're supporting an LBS. But it's also the other side of it is you're also in a space where like you're going to get fed information and they're going to get your stoke up whether you want it to be or not. Like every time I've been in there, I'm excited to go ride. It doesn't matter. I just want to go ride a bike. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
what even type of bike. I just want to ride a bike. So
Absolutely.
it's
They bring the stoke.
they bring the stoke. So we are a little behind because we were super excited about having the last episode. If you guys have not heard it, watched it, listened to it, whatever it might be, we were so excited to have Scuba Steve and Shreddy Tobes on, and so because of that, sweaty Shreddy Tobes. I'm going with it now. That's it. It's stuck. Shreddy Tobes and Scuba Steve.
Neither of their real
That's
nicknames.
such. Those are such stoner names. It's just like they pull up in a van. There's like a ramp that comes out of the back of it, but it just tons of smoke. Anyway, we were so excited to have them on that we did skip a huge event that is very much part of the rebellion culture, and often imitated. What is the statement?
Never duplicated.
Never duplicated, often imitated. So many people try and make it their own, but it is not. It belongs to really Dale Boyd, but Dale shared it with the rebellion. So we want to talk a little bit about that. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's the world famous Bull Gap AIDS station occurred a couple of weeks ago. And if you're hearing this, just so if you don't know the story of it, there's an episode we did a year ago from now. So if you go back in time and listen to that episode, you get the first entrance into that. You also get a weird TikTok moment that we
Mhm.
didn't know what the hell was going on. And I think we were drinking at the same time. So
And we were in Huntsville.
and we were in Huntsville, Alabama. So if you have a chance, go back and check that out. Now, meanwhile, Dale, talk to us about it. How was this year's AIDS?
So it was curable, first of all. But it was this year was different because last year was the first year we kind of knew what to expect. This year, it didn't rain, so there was no mud.
Right.
Um, Jason prayed for no rain. I think
Yeah.
Jason Shear, the event organizer, which is from Ordinary Epics. Um, I think this is the first year it was kind of dry
Right.
ish, and that was surprising because we prepared Hagen with Eric Hagen and I. We talked to previously like, what should we bring? Like, do we need this? Do we need that? We need to bring a ton of towels because we had to clean chains off. Well, this year we didn't have to clean chains off as much. So we had more time to offer up some beverages and pickles to people. But we came more prepared with things that we lacked the year before, I think, things that we ran out. And we also had this year's Jason implemented a time frame of, hey, the aid station will end at this time.
Right. Because last year you guys kind of got hosed and you had to
Yeah,
like
we just
wait there
kind of
forever.
hung out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so this year it was nice because we knew when we had to ramp up and we knew how we knew when the downhill was. So it was kind of nice we could save our energy and there was expectations involved. But the racers this year were great, but it felt like everybody was doing so well that no one wanted to just hang out. Like last year,
Right.
we had to tell people to keep moving. This year, and to the racers' credit, they did amazing. Everybody was that I know PR'd. Everybody that it was riding
Oh,
was
no joke.
PR. Yeah, because the course wasn't as muddy, maybe, and the weather was about perfect. No one was cramping as bad. Things were just different. The weather
Sick.
was it was really good for it. The trails, Billy being with Cogs up there, that was Billy had the trails running so great. So we rode them Friday, and so we got to see the amazing trails that they are in Civil Ward. But
Now, what was the crew that you had up there? Because I know that this time we had some guests come along with the bump crew. We can talk about that in a second. But who was our crew? Who was the Reb crew that was representing? Because you had a
so everybody that came was new. Like everybody,
that's great.
like well, Paul. So Paul came this year, and Paul brought one of the most awesome party ideas ever. He brought his Park Tool bike stand. We strapped it to a table, and we had a pickle beer bong funnel for people
That's
to so
ridiculous.
they could bong pickle juice in
Yeah,
the middle of the race. And I think that people got scared. They thought that they had to take the whole bong of pickle juice, but we had some lucky or some good guys like John Mackey from the Rebellion. He tried it and he just you could turn it off and on. You could toggle it off and on, take as much as you want. But so I said maybe we put Gatorade in it next year. It's a little easier to chug Gatorade.
yeah,
I don't know. Or maybe we just put beer in it. F it.
yeah.
But so Paul was there. Pat came up for his first time ever being up there. Who else? Sean and Phil. And Sean and Phil, Sean Alves and Phil Wilborn, I think you guys drank more alcohol than anybody that was there. Like I'm going back through the footage.
Veteran drinkers right there.
Yeah, I'm going back through the footage and I was like, holy shit, they did a shot of Fireball every time somebody did a shot of Fireball.
Right.
I was like, all right, well, apparently they were just partying. So, but I mean, we all helped. I mean, there's tons of videos of people just saying, hey, what do you need? What do you need? Hey, I'll help. And I think that hopefully the riders felt like we weren't in the way. We were offering something. So I hope I don't forget anybody that came up with us. It was a few weeks ago, so and
Yeah.
I know we had some friends of ours that were racing too. So, like Phil, who else? John and Don both raced.
Yep.
Again, veterans of the race.
Yep.
They've done it I think this is their 4th year.
Dirty Uncle Chase got into the mix this time.
Yeah, I was gonna add that when I talked about the bump stuff. So that was a little bit different this year. So bump also brought a tent and they brought some food. So now Bump has they're kind of part of the group. They were here for day one. So but last year Chase thought, hey, this looks like a fun race. Well, he's an idiot, of course, we know.
Right.
So he signed up for it, smashed it. He did really good.
Yeah.
But you could tell the disdain on his face of us enjoying ourselves in the middle of his pain. And we're like, hey Chase, want a drink? And he's like, I mean, he hated life even more than he normally does.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but Amber, Chase's wife, helped us out a lot. She kept kind of the people in line, and she helped good. And then
If
Scott,
Amber manages Chase, I can only
yeah,
imagine she
right,
could manage the rest of the monkeys.
that's right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, Scott Pruitt from Bump, Scott manned the grill. He brought all the food, all the grill food. We brought tons of like snack food. We handled a lot of it, and then we split up some duties there, so we didn't have a ton of leftover stuff. But Scott was making us some members only, volunteers only sandwiches that were fire.
Yeah.
Like and um, Phil, I think Phil or Sean. Sean brought venison, so we had some deer
Oh,
sandwiches
nice.
with
Nice.
grilled cheese deer sandwiches with all kinds of stuff. So it got a little crazy with the food, but it was awesome. And I think that, uh,
Wasn't BTR set up too?
yeah, I was going to do that
Okay.
too. So
Sorry.
BTR showed up too, and BTR came out early, and this was the first time. And I checked with Jason first because the spirit of this race is it's unsupported, right? You're kind of on your own, and that's the spirit of the race. I didn't want the spirit of the race to be watered down with support.
Yep.
But Jody graciously offered his support of his bike truck, bike trailer, and fixed stuff for people that had mechanical issues. One guy actually broke his carbon handlebar off, and I posted a video of it. Jody fixed it with a stick and duct taped it, put it back together, put his grip back together, and the guy finished the race. So that was at mile 20 something. So the guy ended up doing another 45 miles with a
On a
stick, a
broken
broken
with
handle.
the stick handlebar. I
Not on
mean,
an easy course.
right, and that's kind of the joy of this whole event is like
Right.
those are the takeaway moments that are like cyclists helping cyclists. Most of these dudes aren't. This
Mhm.
isn't the dirt church big send it crowd. This is people
Mm-mm.
that are out there to smash it. Like what's the magic guy's name from Birmingham? That's just an idiot that
Oh,
rides.
Brian Toon.
Yeah, that dude's a monster.
Yeah.
He's a legitimate monster. He's
Yeah.
just a monster. He's a freak of nature, and it's awesome. I
Yeah, he came out there and rode from Birmingham, did the 100-mile race, and rode back to Birmingham that day.
right
It's
and
like
did well in
250
the hundred
miles.
mile race.
Yeah, I think he won his age group.
He
He was
won
like
his
top 5 probably.
And that's what I'm saying. He's just obnoxious. But the joy of that is just the idea that you get to go out there and have this and you get to experience that.
Mhm.
The only downside to that event for me personally is it always falls right within my spring break window, somewhere
Yeah.
right around my spring break scenario. And so I never have a chance to go to it because of work related challenges of vacation, all that. But all right, so talk us through some of the stuff. Like what's some of the highs and lows from it from you guys? Like obviously you talked
From a
about
volunteer
innovating, but
standpoint, yeah.
yeah, I mean, but what is it when you're looking back on it now? What do you think?
So I think one of the things I like to tell everybody is it's not about the event. There's so many things that happen during the event or conversations that are had or like just funny moments that you cannot replicate. You're like, "Oh god, I got to remember that," or that should be a t-shirt. I don't remember any of it. Like and it's just the fun. Oh no, DJ was there too. Sorry
Yeah.
DJ,
So
shout out
Deej,
DJ.
yeah.
He drove us home from Boulder Gap, so how could I forget DJ? And he rode with me all the way there, so I should have never forgot. But anyway,
He's
um,
very quiet sometimes.
yeah. So DJ. Anyway, they those situations where you're just hanging out and like our group of volunteers and everybody was there and we didn't have any stress. Like,
Right.
the riders Friday night, we're having a cookout. They have a potluck, an awesome potluck, and we're all just hanging out because we're just chilling. Like all we have to worry about is make sure we're there before the first rider gets there.
Right.
So there's no stress. We're just laid back and relaxed. And it's kind of nice to have that atmosphere. But like just you've been in bike situations and everybody listening's probably been in a situation that you can't replicate, and that kind of stuff like that to me is awesome. And it's like a family, there's always something that happens. And to me, for that event, this year was my fourth year attending. Whether it was racing, I raced it 2 years, and then I've been doing this for 2 years. It's like a family reunion. There's
Yeah.
so many people, and like now there's people from Atlanta that come over and hung out with us because they know us from the podcast, or knew us from the race itself. And like different things like that, different people coming up from everywhere. And it's really cool and we're meeting different people, and that to me is what I do it for. I just being around like-minded people from every place, and it's awesome, and I love every second of it.
It's one of the things that I appreciate more and more about that event, or hearing the stories of it, having not experienced it, but even the other guys coming back telling the stories, not just the Dale Boyd hype stories.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that I miss. It's what I loved about when we did Jank Fest, is that
Yeah.
it was more about, yes, there was a competition, but
Mhm.
the competition was secondary to the hangout.
Right.
You needed to really be there for the hangout side of things, and that was more important. It seems the same way there.
It's
There is a race.
100%
Now,
that way.
again, if you're in the race,
Mhm.
your focus is that race. It shouldn't be the hanging out, because if that's the
Right.
case, then you should just stop what you're doing and hang out, because you're
That's why
clearly
I did
endangering
that.
it. Right. And so it's one of those things of like, I think it's interesting if more and more bits were like that. Like, I kind of wish we had that same vibe. Like last year we worked bump and grind,
Yeah.
and there's not really a spot to do that. But I kind of feel like we might need to be assholes and just set up a secret
Yeah.
tent situation. We're not going to tell anybody where it is. We're just going to show up in between stages,
You hang
and the
out.
Rev assholes with all kinds of stuff to just like do our own thing
Yeah.
and just make a harassment station. Maybe that's something we have to get into. But I just feel like if more races had that, it it does build the hype, but it also builds the community, and it also makes it more fun, and it's a
Yeah.
moment. You guys were making moments because you told me a story about like a young kid that came up that was
Mhm.
super excited to meet you guys, but then
And
his
his
parents
parents.
came over and hung out. And I
Yeah.
mean, could you mind sharing that little bit?
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of interesting.
It is really cool. And if you're of the generation, the demographic that listens to this, you'll understand. Um, that we had a kid come up to us on Friday night. Just we're all in our tent area, like not in a public little area. We're in a tent area sitting in a circle, and this kid comes up super respectfully. And it was amazing how respectful, asked each one of us our names and then respectfully said, I'm not going to remember that, which,
Yeah,
is
good
like
for him.
great. But he was asking us any advice we had for him for the race. He was getting ready to do the race for the first time. He's going off to college to race mountain bikes. And so those of us that had raced offered him some suggestions. And like thought it was really cool that he would had the I mean, he didn't have a phone, he didn't have, and for that generation of, let's call them COVID babies now, because from 14 to 17 he was probably locked in his house without social interaction.
Oh yeah.
But for him to come up and just talk to us as an adult, it was amazing. So then his parents came over and thanked us for talking to him, which was even was like,
Right.
who aren't you people? And so we thanked his parents, so it was like that. And they asked us what we were doing there because we obviously weren't racing, and we told them. She was like, "Oh, where will you guys be tomorrow?" And my first comment or question to her in front of everybody was, "Do you like Master P?"
Right.
And she's like, "Huh?" I'm like, "Well, just listen for the music. That's how you'll find us,
Yeah.
because Master P will be playing." So anyway, they came up and they had a great time. Like they sat with us, waited for him to come through, and then they found him at another spot. But it was just, and they're from South Carolina, I
Yep.
think, something like
Yep.
that, North or South Carolina. So it was cool to just get to meet other people like that and like find you're not going to find that kid anywhere else you go, right? A kid like that is unique to
Yep.
a mountain bike culture, and he's somebody that's going to perpetuate the mountain
but
bike.
but that kid doesn't have the opportunity to talk to you guys unless you've set up this community situation.
Right.
That's
That's
what I'm
it's
saying, is like,
accessible. Yeah. Yeah.
it makes it a spot where you can do that. And we talk about that a lot on the show, but this is another example of that, like where you don't have to always race to participate and change somebody's
That's
life
right.
or your own, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just by doing that, you benefited that kid,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not he remembers it down the road, maybe not till he's like in his 30s, and it just
And he
suddenly is a
just does it to
remember.
somebody else.
Right, but
Yeah.
he may pass it on and do. I just think it's really interesting. Such an interesting. I remember talking about it last year too, but I think it's just such a great mechanic of this idea of being race support or rider support, really, in any of these kind of events. I mean, even if it's a festival and you had the
Mhm.
same thing set up, like figure out how you can just give away something for free. Who cares? Like,
Right.
just it's cheap. It's just cheap stuff.
Mhm.
Grilled cheese or cost nothing.
Right.
But it's that kind of stuff. So it's a great concept, and it's a great way to like build community and push back.
And actually, so I heard John had done the Austin Rattler one year,
Yeah,
and when he did it, he said he remembered distinctly when he thought he was done, there was some dudes grilling bacon and had shots of Jack Daniels,
right.
and that, like, kept him going, like, knowing and I was like, "Dude, that's I wanna do something like
Yeah,
that at a race."
yeah,
And so now Bull Gap aid station has become a thing, I guess.
yeah. It's good. I mean, I think it's awesome. I think it's a fun thing. Um, yeah. So looking forward to that. We'll set it up again for next year. We're gonna try and get Jason on the show. Is it him and his wife that do
Yeah,
this?
Jason and Wendy.
Jason and Wendy
Yeah.
on the show at some point because they Ordinary Epics isn't just that
Mm-mm,
one ride. They do
mm-mm.
like epic stuff, like
They do
truly.
the yeah, they so he's raced all over the world
Yeah.
and ridden all over the world, and I believe she has too, but they do tons of stuff for the cycling community in general, they're also part of Escape Collective, they were
Yep.
part of the original group that joined Escape Collective. He does the Delta Epic 300 race in, Mississippi, also does the Mississippi Gravel Cup,
Yep.
which is what he's doing in an area of the world, like, that's not normal, like, people think gravel racing in Mississippi, like, "What?" And he's doing it,
Yeah.
so I think it's really, really cool. And I think I would love to have him on and just chat with him.
Yeah, it's just an interesting idea because it's a different type of riding and race approach. I think for all of us, it would be kind of cool just to have that kind of chat and just see what he
But
says.
yeah, and
So,
he's not he rides differently than all of us.
right.
Like his riding experiences have been different and probably well more he's probably got way more cycling credibility than us,
No,
honestly.
100%. I mean, I think a couple of frogs
That's
making babies have better cycling
I mean,
credibility than we do.
honestly, the only cycle credibility we have is what we've created because we've talked about it for 3
Yeah, that's
years.
exactly right. That's
Somebody
exactly
said, "Why does Dale talk about how good he is?" I'm like, "Well, no one's gonna be on here telling me I'm not." So
right. Right. So if you want to refute it, you can send email to Ride
yeah.
the Rebellion.
Or you could just come ride with me and prove me
Yeah, go
wrong,
ahead.
which
Prove
I'm
them
cool
wrong.
with. I know there's better riders. I'm good.
Yeah, so we have a lot of great stuff coming up. We have some cool interviews coming up down the road for you guys and gals and folks, and we're excited about those. I do, I we get a lot of great feedback. We get a lot of interaction. We haven't really had a prize in a while to give away. I don't even know if we have anything great right now in the prize. Do we have anything in the prize vault?
Yeah, we do, but I don't know what it is.
All right.
We
Well,
got
we're gonna
some.
do a random
We
one
do
because
have
this.
some handlebars.
Oh, do we really?
Mhm. Donated by DJ. DJ is a deity endorsee. What is it?
No, influencer.
Yeah,
No,
whatever. It's
whatever
something
it
like
is.
that. Yeah. So we have some
DJI. That's a different brand.
deity. We got some handlebars and grips we could give away.
All right, let's do.
Like $100 value at least.
There we go.
150 maybe.
So we're gonna do $100 value. What you have to do is,
Listen to this last story and then we'll tell you what you got to do.
yeah, there it is. Okay, go ahead. Last story then.
Well, no, we went to the stockyard.
Oh yeah, you're gonna do that bit. Okay, so then, all right, great. So
Sorry.
we will drop it in there if you listen to this last story. So just a fish hook. So one of the other things that occurred, I was on you. One of the other things that occurred is that Stockyard had its opening day, which was like a nice preemptive moment for. It was almost like another community driven event because there was not necessarily real racing going on. It was more just come hang out. Toby had classes up there that I heard were really good and fun. There's food trucks, there's all kinds of stuff. Just you want to give us the rundown on that scenario?
Yeah, it was almost essentially our podcast in real person
Right.
because Toby was there, Jody was at BTR, and
Right.
then Eric Hagan was there,
Yeah.
rolling around, keep MCing the whole place. So it was I keep calling it the grand opening. I don't know if it was grand opening or
Nah,
not.
he just kept saying opening day.
Yeah, the opening day. There you go, opening day.
Yeah.
So the stockyard is 65 acres of private land that has a skills park, um, a pump track that's just been built. That's amazing. Uh, enduro lines, a jump line, and there's literally something for everybody.
It's
My
a
daughter
brutal
came.
XC thing.
Yeah, brutal 4 mile XC course. My daughter came and she had a blast riding some of the skill stuff and asked when she could go back. It's considered. Somebody commented was like, "Well, how many miles and do they plan on adding miles?" I'm like, "It's called a mountain bike training compound.
Right.
Like, it's not there for you to go get a million miles in." I know some people are like all about how many miles can you ride. Well, if you go there and you go up and down and do a ton of those enduro lines, you're not going to be able to ride any more miles anyway because
Right.
it's steep.
Right.
So um, take it as what it is. It's not a bike park. It's a training ground. So if there's a skill you want to develop, that's a perfect place to go develop that skill.
Yep.
And there's a bike shop on the property. And it's in the middle of nowhere, so you're not going to be distracted by anything else. It was a great event. The event itself, there was a pump track contest that I complained my way into getting a shirt because I think I was the oldest person that competed. Maybe Billy Bean, but I was faster than Billy, so Billy. Um, and then there was, I don't know if they did a jump contest. Maybe they did. Maybe they did. But everybody got to kind of jump on Toby's airbag, kind of do the class and learn some stuff from Toby while he was there. And we got jumped, not physically, well, physically, but not beat up.
Right.
Toby and Matt jumped us as a crew, which was pretty cool. We rode all around. We got like 10 miles of riding in that day, and it was a hell of a day. It was all packed in one. And the food truck was amazing. I think it was called Bearded Food Truck. Oh, I might be wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I remember
Something.
it was
It's
something
something
about a
over.
beard.
Yeah.
The point is like that's yet another event that's a community driven
Yeah, we
event.
just hung out.
Yeah, that's exactly
Mhm.
what it was. And so it wasn't like, the big bike park thing, but it was something that was really relevant in the sense of like you're again, it's a training ground, but you can ride there, so you can go do stuff. But think of it more as a place to approach your skill set, and then as I've said a million times, and it's not yes, he's a sponsor, but we genuinely love Jody to death. Is that
Mhm.
he's on site. He's a fantastic mechanic, maybe one of the better ones in the Southeast, and he's right there. So you can go work on stuff. And even if you consider the idea that maybe you want to do some tweaking, you have somebody who understands shock setup and knows how to deliver on that. So if you're there and you really want to work on some things, there's a great opportunity to go right up there, tweak your stuff, have him help you with it, that whole process. So it's just a unique environment for training wise. If you don't have like a reb or some other kind of home space where you can do those kind of things, I think it's a really good.
It is like the Reb 2.0, honestly,
Yeah.
because it's set up similar to the way we would,
Yeah.
we have ours.
Right.
So if you do want to go out there and ride, I think it's Saturday, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday is when they're open. Maybe not Friday, but I know Monday and
Okay.
Saturday and Sunday. And you can go to their website, stockyardmtb.com, and fill out the waiver and pay on there, buy your tickets.
There you go. Easy
Yeah.
peasy. So yeah, so what we'll do is we want you to tell us the name of the food truck. Fifth person. Fifth person.
Oh, it is on their advertising.
Let's do seventh
social
person.
media.
Seventh person is going to win $100
On
set of
YouTube?
handlebars on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Yeah, on the YouTubes, because it's just easier. So seventh person on the YouTube. So if you're not listening on the YouTubes, you're missing out. Now, I'd rather you listen on the podcast. I don't know how to make the podcast people win. You know what I mean?
What do
It's
they
not
listen
fair.
to?
Well, I mean, some like the podcast people can't leave the comment.
I know.
So it's on the YouTubes. Didn't we do YouTubes last time?
Yeah, we did. Let's put it in the group.
No, we're doing it in the group chat. It's going
In
straight into the
on
group.
the Facebook podcast
Facebook group. Yep. Once this
Alright.
episode drops,
That's the only place. Yeah.
seventh person in the Facebook group. Is that correct?
Yeah, but I'll just make a post when the because I always share when it drops.
Yeah.
Whenever this, you have to comment on the drop of this.
Yeah.
So when this episode's posted, the seventh person to comment on that episode posting in the podcast group.
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
Yep.
I'll even put it on there.
So that's what we'll do. So if you're number 7, we're gonna win some deity bars, brand new.
I'll put contest post at the top.
There you go.
You don't
Paying
know
attention.
if you had to listen and know what you have to be.
You got to pay attention.
That's
You
right.
want to be a winner these days.
Everybody wants to be a winner.
Is there anything else?
No. I don't know.
Bike report. Dale Boyd's bike report.
No, it's nothing.
He has a frame.
I have nothing. No time, energy, or effort to put it together. Building a bike sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
It used to be cool. It's not cool anymore.
No, not when you want to go ride it.
I know. That's the suck part about
the suck part. It's just sitting right there, flipping you off.
I already scratched it too. Breaking news.
It's good for you. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks for hanging out and listening to this episode. Again, follow us on social media. If you want to enter the contest, you need to join the secret Facebook group that's not so secret and look for the contest post. Number 7 wins a set of deity bars and grips, $100+ value. We're giving away to you. Thanks, DJ, for the love. And just remember what Dale Boyd says. Oh,
winners get sprinkles.
I thought you were going to talk about some kind of tube.
mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what? Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. It's all hard, ain't no fear here.